Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to be exploring this particular question. Should law be a set of rules or justice? Now this touches on deep questions such as what happens when laws don't seem to align with what's fair and just, and also how important rigidity is in the sustenance of law. But first of all, let me clearly define the difference between the terms law and justice, because in everyday life we tend to use them interchangeably, but actually they have quite distinct meanings. Law refers to a system of rules and regulations enforced by authorities which aim to keep order in society. On the other hand, justice is a moral concept based on fairness and equality. Well, now that you know the aim of this investigation, you might be wondering why this topic even matters. The main reason why it's so crucial to understand this because it gets right into the heart of what law is. So if law was just rules, judges must apply them even if it would lead to an unfair outcome. Conversely, if law is about justice, judges should have the right to bend or reinterpret laws. Now the first perspective we'll take a look at is legal positivism. The core idea of this is that law is law because it is enacted properly, not necessarily because it's morally good. The main advantage of this is the concept of everyone being equal before law. Although this seems simple at first, it is much more important than it seems. Imagine you've been convicted of a serious crime and the judge's bad mood or personal experiences result in an impulsive adaptation of the law. That would be very problematic for society. But because of strict and predictable rules, there is less room for such bias and subjectivity, which makes law much more consistent and reliable to follow. This predictability means that, as A.V. Dicey says in The Rule of Law, no man is punishable except for a distinct breach of law. So from this perspective, justice is best served not by discretion, but by consistency. A judge who departs from law risks replacing law with personal morality. With all that being said, we'll now take a look at the other major view taken on this question, which is called the natural law theory. The core idea of this is that strict rules can produce morally wrong outcomes. The main reason why this feels compelling is because laws are written generically, and it's definitely impossible for them to cover every possible real-life situation. So treating these rules rigidly would cause unfairness, and hence, like Longfellow said, immoral law is not truly law. Throughout history, there have been several examples when governments have a corrupted legal system, and so legal positivism in those situations would lead to drastic results. So by this logic, we have the moral right and responsibility to challenge unfair laws, and judges should be able to use their decision-making to bend laws in certain situations. We'll look at a classic example of conflict between strict legal rules and justice through the case of Entick versus Carrington. Essentially, this is about Mr. Entick, who was a writer suspected of producing material critical of the government. Government officials, including Carrington, entered his home and searched it, relying on a general warrant issued by a government minister. The key issue here was that no specific law authorised this search. Mr. Entick consequently sued the officials for trespass. The central question here raises whether the government can intervene with individual liberty without clear legal authority. And importantly, for our video, this expresses tension between strict legality and justice. In this sort of situation, a legal positivist would argue that state power must explicitly be authorised by law, so officials cannot simply act because something seems necessary or useful. But on the other hand, natural law would say that the search was necessary to protect public order and that justice sometimes requires legal flexibility. From this view, strict rules can hinder efficient governance, so pragmatic action is sometimes important, even without clear legal authority. Ultimately, the court ruled in favour of Mr. Entick, and the officials were liable for trespass. But regardless of the outcome, though, this case shows that justice is sometimes best protected, not by flexible discretion, but by unwavering adherence to legal rules. So, we've now reached the end of this video, and just like many questions, this too doesn't really have a concrete answer. I think this dynamic tension between legal positivism and natural law is what makes the field of law itself so compelling. Overall, I feel like understanding where the balance lies, it's not just a legal problem, but a philosophical one, and one that many great minds will keep exploring. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.